Hi there, this is Jeet here. Agile principle number 11 stresses on the self-organizing aspect of the team. But then how practically it is possible to have a self-organizing team? In this session, I'll be talking about some of the anti-patterns which once identified can be worked upon to help team transition into the self-organizing state. But then before that, there are many measures which management takes to help team transition to the self-organizing state. Some of these measures are early project orientation, when the team is apprised on the project scope upfront, who the client is, what their business is, what business objective they want to achieve through this project, and what are the timelines. Then removing command and control structure, when the traditional project managers are removed from the hierarchy, the servant leaders, agile coaches, and scrum masters are brought in. Safe environment. Teams are empowered to make the decisions. They can openly express their views. They can raise their hands to seek any kind of help from whosoever they want to. And then commonality of purpose, which is where they are apprised on the release plans, release goals. They're involved in sprint plannings, sprint goals. All these measures are good and they may help teams self-organize, but then these measures alone don't guarantee the success to help teams stay self-organized. Why? Because people are very complex. People come with different cultural backgrounds, knowledge, experience, interests, capabilities, habits, and beliefs. It's very difficult to govern the people by a rule book and expect them to stay self-organized because they're supposed to be. The first anti-pattern that I'm going to talk about is authoritative behaviors. An agile team may consist of senior members, junior members, and SMEs from different disciplines. It is quite often seen that the senior members or the SMEs do not allow the junior member to speak up or express their views, citing their experience and knowledge in the field. That sets the wrong precedence. Junior members may come up with the fresh ideas and they may be correct in their stand or opinion, but then they give in because they cannot communicate well, they cannot articulate it well, and that is an anti-pattern in building a self-organizing team. In an agile team, there should be no level and no label policy. No hierarchy should be increased in a team. So that way, team can come up as a single unit and participate in decision making. Freedom of expression and sense of being equal partner goes long way building a self-organizing team. The second anti-pattern is manifest partiality. People may come with different cultural background, they have different personality types, they have common interests, and that's why they can develop a comfort zone or informal silos wherein they may prefer to work with certain individual in the team. For example, one of the developers says that I want to work with certain tester because the other tester is arrogant. In another example, one developer may say that I want my code to be reviewed by certain developer because the other developer gives him exaggerated review comments. All these may happen because people have found their comfort zones, and working with the other individuals in the team makes them put additional efforts and they are probably not comfortable. So these kind of preferential treatments and informal silos need to be identified and addressed by giving continuous coaching. The third anti-pattern is the gaps in 3 C's. These 3 C's are communication, collaboration, and coordination, which form an essential backbone to stay self-organized. In first couple of iterations, team may come up with many struggles related to the application architecture, understanding the technology stack, various accesses to the systems and tools, clients' behavior, stakeholders' expectations, environmental setups, organization policy, client policy, and so on. This very struggle open up the gaps between these 3 C's. If there are gaps, then these gaps may hamper the team's ability to stay self-organized. To help them remove these gaps, team may identify the essential workflows in the project, then attach themselves to these roles and responsibilities to take timely actions, and they can identify the POCs which they can reach out in the timely manner, and more importantly, they do discuss the gaps in these 3Cs in their retrospective meetings and come up with action items. The fourth anti-pattern is habits and belief. For example, one team member says that I don't want to come to the morning stand-up because it's very difficult for me to wake up. Can you shift it to the afternoon? The other member in the team believes in completing more and more PBIs or stories without worrying the quality of the code or following the existing processes, because it provides him an opportunity to learn more and more new things about the technology, about the functionality. Now all these are the deviation from the working agreements, which reflects on the poor state of team's self-organization. The fifth anti-pattern is failure to improve. After every retrospective meeting, team may come up with action items. Otherwise also, they may be identifying many improvement areas for themselves. But then how seriously they drive the improvement reflects on their self-organizing state. There may be many reasons for which team may not be able to improve. First, that they simply don't want to improve, which is quite possible. Second could be that they have dependencies to improve beyond their control, maybe on the stakeholder side or maybe on the client side. For example, providing a safe environment, providing some budget for some activities they want to carry on. The third one is no direct benefit. Team might have actioned some improvement plans before, but they didn't see any direct benefit. They're super busy, they don't have time for it. So all these problem areas which may stop team to improve and which is a direct impact on their self-organizing behavior and state also should be identified and actioned upon. The sixth anti-pattern is waiting for direction. If an agile team becomes dependent on the product owner, scrum master or SME for small things, that reflects on the poor state of self-organization. Team should be able to move forward their own by making independent decisions with respect to the technical design requirements rather than waiting for certain individuals to help and guide them always. They should apply the critical thinking as and when necessary to make a usable software. Now all these 6 anti-patterns that I talked about are out of my experience of working with the Scrum teams. Once these are identified, it is easy to draft a coaching plan for the team and gradually address those anti-patterns to help team transition to the self-organizing state. The result may not come overnight, but with continuous coaching, empathy and patience. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.